So, how much do you like Will Smith? I used to watch him when he was in the Prince of Bel-Air. This is like 30 years ago, I think. 30 or more or less. He's like 50 years old, I think. Okay, this has really not much to do with the topic of this subunit, okay? So, this is multiple choice part 4. Okay, so this means you have it there, listening. So part 4 of the listening paper will always be multiple choice. So it's normally an interview. Okay, you see, it normally looks like this. You have an interview. Normally it's a man and a woman. Okay, one asks the questions and the other one answers, and you have 7 questions. Okay, and it's the same interview. Normally, for example, according to Max, so Max is a boy. So normally a girl will ask the question and then the man will answer. Okay, and you'll have to choose the one that fits more or less what Max says about this, about what research shows. Then the girl will ask another question which will be a paraphrase of this, and then Max will give an explanation and you have to choose, and like that. So it's easy to follow because there's a clear change, no? Like girl, man, girl, man, girl, man, girl, man. Okay, so even if you get lost in one, then you can pick it up easily. Okay, so that's an advantage in this one. Okay, so this is what it looks like. We're going to look at the exam focus, okay, so that you get some information for this. So go to page 189. Okay, read it. I'm going to highlight it, but better if you read it first. Okay, so I'm going to highlight it, stop the video and read it. Okay, so what's being tested is your ability to follow quite a long text. Okay, it's normally between 3 and 4 minutes long, and to notice the speaker's attitude or opinion. And sometimes you have to look for specific information, but normally it has to do with opinion, attitude. So you listen to it twice. You have 7 multiple choice questions. You only have 3 options, A, B or C, so that makes it a bit easier. If you can eliminate one, then it's a 50% chance of getting it well. Okay, strategy. This is important. Read the introduction. Normally you will have a little paragraph telling you someone interviews a college soccer player about the start of the season, so you already know what it's going to be about. So that's important. Okay, that takes 3 seconds. Then read the questions and options if you have time, and highlight key words or key phrases. Okay, the fewer words you highlight, the better. Is the same as the reading we did last week. Okay, try to highlight 1 or 2 words which remind you of the rest of the sentence, of the main idea, so that while you are listening you focus on those ideas. Okay, then I'll help you highlight the keywords. And now while you are listening, you will have a paraphrase. Okay, so someone, imagine, says, "Oh, I'm very tired because yesterday I went to bed late." And then he says, "I'm destroyed because I've slept very few hours." Well, that's a paraphrase. Okay, so why is the speaker tired? Okay, so the paraphrase will be the same idea using different words. Okay, so this is what you always have. And then you will have distractors, which means that perhaps in option C you have something about working very hard, and then he may say working, okay, but perhaps that's not the answer, but you heard the word work or working, and that distracts you. So there are usually distractors. Okay, now we'll look at them before we do the task, and then after a task I'll tell you if there are any distractors, which is very common. Okay, now I couldn't show you this at the same time. Okay, you listen to it twice. So during the second listening, I don't agree with this, like check the options you have chosen. Okay, so as an exercise for you to practice and get better, check the options check the options that you have chosen and write the paraphrase if possible. This will help us when we correct it, so that you know that you got it well because you understand, not because you got lucky, because it's normal to get lucky sometimes. Okay, this is the strategy. This helps, but what helps the most is understanding what's being said. If you don't understand anything, you can use the best strategy in the world, but you'll only get correct the ones where you get lucky. Okay, so the key is trying to understand 100% of what's being said. If you understand 100%, the exercises are relatively easy. The problem is that very few students understand most of it. Okay, so That's where the problem starts. Okay, so let's go back to page 21. Okay, here in the book, whenever we have an exercise, we have some questions which introduce the topic. So I'll mark it, and then when we do the Zoom lesson, okay, we'll discuss these questions. So these are just to introduce the topic. So it's about the importance of brothers, sisters, and how that affects your personality. Okay, remember this unit was about personality, describing yourself. Okay, remember siblings is brothers or sisters. Okay, sibling is like parents, is mother, father. So sibling is brother or sister. So I have 3 siblings, 1 brother and 2 sisters. Okay, so think about this. You can take some notes. We'll do this in the speaking. Now this is the task. Okay, this is the paragraph that I told you introduced the listening. So you're going to listen to a psychologist called Max talking about birth order. Birth order means how the fact that you were born first, second, or last, or if there are 4, the 2 in the middle, etc. Okay, how that may affect your personality. For example, yesterday I got home on the from riding the bicycle, and a neighbor was talking to her parents about her daughter. She only has 1 daughter, and she said, people say that the second baby, the one who's born second, is always cleverer and naughty and so on, but this one is the first. She hasn't learned from anyone, and she's already really naughty. So anyway, these are typical things that people comment on. Okay, no, the second one is cleverer, or the first one is, I don't know, more dependent on their parents and so on. So this is what it's about. Okay, birth order, how this affects. Now remember what you had to do. Okay, we're going to do only the first one. Okay, so stop the video and read the first sentence and the 3 options and highlight the keywords. Okay, so make sure you've highlighted your words. I'm going to show mine in 2, 1. So sorry, the first one. Okay, research shows. So research is the important thing. Okay, and now you have oldest children, middle children, youngest. So you can even omit, I didn't really highlight this. Okay, you can omit children, because the oldest, middle, youngest, obviously we are talking about children. So oldest, most successful, middle, happier, youngest, least independent. Least is el que menos. So you're likely to hear words about dependent, okay, successful, so you have to be careful with this. So you will hear a paraphrase. Okay, so we're going to do number 3, okay, which is doing the listening and just focusing on number 1. Okay, so read this information first. Okay, this is basically synonyms or paraphrases. Okay, and now according to what you've heard, which one is the correct one? Okay, so you have the, well, I'll just play this one, okay, since it's easy, it's short.
Unit 2, Listening, Activity 3. As the youngest of 4 children, I know my older brothers and sisters always thought I had a much easier time. I didn't used to do as many jobs around the house, and my parents were more relaxed about letting me do things as I got older. But has this affected my personality in any way? Our reporter, Max Berry, has been listening to psychologists at Southfield University who are doing some research into what's known as the birth order effect, how your position in a family can affect your life. They've been asking people whether they believe there's any truth in this. Max, what can you tell us?
Well, Esther, it seems that the vast majority of people believe that the oldest child's always the most successful in later life. But apparently, there's a lot of evidence to show that it's actually middle children who have the best chance of leading happy as well as successful lives. People also believe that the youngest child always has a problem learning to be responsible and independent, which again isn't supported by any real facts.
Okay, since you have this, if you want, I give you permission to listen to it. So you go back in the video, okay, and that's it, and you rewind it. No, not very nice. You rewind it, you go back, and you listen to it if you need to listen to it. Okay, So to make it easier, I'm going to show it to you here. Okay, so this is the introduction. So this is I mean, it has nothing to do with the first question. Now, the vast majority of people believe that the oldest child is always the most successful. So this is A, right? But apparently there's a lot of evidence to show, so this but is crucial. Okay, so this would be A, but then when you see or you hear but, it means contrast. So this is not, okay, this is not going to be the answer. So this happens very often. Okay, that but introduces the answer. So people believe this, but that's not true. Okay, that's what people believe, but what does research show? But apparently there's a lot of evidence. Evidence is a synonym for research, to show that it's actually middle children who have the best chance of leading happy as well as successful. So this is what I told you. Successful, for example, appears in A. Successful. So perhaps you hear successful and you go to A. So you have to be careful. And then youngest child. So all three are mentioned: oldest, middle, and youngest. And people believe that the youngest child has a problem learning to be responsible and independent. So here independent, which again isn't supported by any real facts. So research shows that this is not the case. There's no research showing that the youngest child has a problem being independent. Okay, so you can eliminate C and A. It is B. Okay, so this is what you need to do. Okay, so this is it. Okay, you read 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You highlight the keywords, and then you listen to it twice. Okay, 2 times. You listen to it twice and try to choose the correct one, the one that fits best according to what the speaker says. Okay, and then if possible try to write down the evidence. Okay, so I'm going to give you the answers, so make sure you have stopped this, otherwise you aren't learning anything, and this will affect you eventually. Okay, so ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm going to show the answers. Okay, so these are the answers. Okay, correct it. You can stop it and correct it. Now what I want you to do is stop the video, and if you need to, you can listen to it again. Okay, I gave you the audio file, so you can listen to it. Okay, and again I want you to try, and especially for the ones that you got wrong, if possible for all of them, but especially for the ones that you got wrong, I want you to write the paraphrase. I want you to write this synonym, this paraphrase, which means the same as this and the same as this. Okay, so I'm going to stop it now. I'm going to get the evidence ready. I want you to do the same. Okay, listen to it, and this is how you will get better. Okay, so evidence for the first one. Okay, the oldest child helps their younger brothers, and this actually helps the older child become more confident and independent. So this is a paraphrase for C. The oldest child benefits from teaching younger siblings. Benefits because they become more confident and independent. So this is the benefit by teaching, which is what you have here, help instead of teach. Okay, number 3. Okay, this part about he experienced jealousy of a sibling. Okay, celos del hermano. As a young child, I remember hating my younger brother and thinking that he was my parents' favorite, and this is quite common. Okay, so this is common, which is what Max shares. Okay, characteristic typical of older siblings. Okay, number 4. Okay, so the baby, the younger one, is likely to be more imaginative and artistic. So this is the same as curious and creative. So imaginative and artistic is a paraphrase. Okay, next one. This effect is greater. 5C. Okay, having siblings of the same sex. So when there are 2 boys or 2 girls, the birth order effect is stronger. So this is the same sex, 2 boys or 2 girls. Okay, so here, okay, it says having third-born children. No, number 6C, third-born children. So it would be easier for 2 third-born children because they are likely to be more relaxed. So this is the most successful marriage. Okay, it would be much easier, so it's more likely to be successful. And the last one, 7, it says the influence this can have doesn't necessarily last. Our relationships outside our family can have just as much influence on the development of our personality. So this is 7A. It may only play a small part in forming personality. Okay, because our relationships can have just as much influence. Okay, so I hope you did well. I hope at least that you did the exercise honestly and you didn't just copy the answers, which is what some of you may do occasionally, which doesn't benefit you or anyone around you. Okay, so take some notes about this and we'll discuss this. Okay, we'll have lots of questions to discuss, so it will be worth having a Zoom lesson. Okay, so this is it. Thank you very much. Bye. I'll give you some optional homework that you can do if you want to get better, but you are not forced to do it. Okay, I'll write it in the task. Thank you. Bye.